Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Before we begin, please like and subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. My name is Rebecca Torres and I've lived in Salem for 15 years. You'd think living in America's most haunted city would make you immune to fear. You'd be wrong. Last Halloween I was working the late shift at Salem General Hospital as a night nurse. The hospital sits on the edge of town, surrounded by old oak trees that look like twisted fingers reaching for the sky. Most staff hate working Halloween night, but I volunteered. Extra pay, and honestly, I didn't believe in any of that supernatural nonsense. The night started normal enough. A few kids with stomach aches from too much candy, one teenager who'd scared himself so badly at a haunted house, he hyperventilated. By 11 p.m. things had quieted down. The emergency room was empty except for me and Dr. Patterson, who was dozing in the break room. That's when I heard it. Knock, 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 3 slow. Deliberate knocks on the ER entrance door. I looked up from my paperwork. Through the glass doors, I could see a small figure standing in the darkness. A child, maybe 7 or 8 years old, wearing a Halloween costume. I couldn't make out the details, but it looked like some kind of old-fashioned outfit. I glanced at the clock. 11:17 p.m. Way too late for trick-or-treating. The child knocked again. Same rhythm, knock, knock, knock. I walked to the door, my sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. As I got closer, I could see the kid more clearly. He was dressed like a colonial-era child, those old pilgrim clothes you see in history books. His face was pale, almost gray in the fluorescent lights. "Hey, sweetie," I called through the glass. "Are you lost? Where are your parents?" The boy didn't answer. He just stared at me with dark, hollow eyes. Then he raised his hand and knocked again. Knock, knock, knock. Something felt wrong, really wrong. But he was just a kid, and it was cold outside. I couldn't leave him there. I unlocked the door and opened it halfway. "Come on in, let's find your mom and dad." The boy didn't move. He stood there perfectly still, his breath not fogging in the cold October air. That's when I noticed I could see my own breath but not his. "Sweetie," I said, my voice shakier than I wanted. "Are you okay?" "I'm looking for my mother," he whispered. His voice sounded wrong, like it was coming from far away or from underwater. "She works here. She promised she'd come home for Halloween. What's your mother's name? I can help you find her." "Margaret." The boy tilted his head. "Margaret Howell. She's a nurse. Like you." My blood ran cold. I knew that name. Every nurse in Salem knew that name. Margaret Howell had worked at this hospital in 1952. She died on Halloween night during a fire that destroyed the old wing. She'd been trying to evacuate patients when the ceiling collapsed. Her 7-year-old son, Thomas, had been waiting for her at home. He'd waited all night, still in his Halloween costume. According to the records I'd once read in the hospital archives, Thomas had died 3 days later. Some said it was grief. Others whispered he'd simply wasted away, refusing to eat or speak, just sitting by the window in his costume, waiting for his mother. That's not possible," I stammered. The boy's expression didn't change. "She promised. She always keeps her promises." I took a step back. The boy took a step forward, crossing the threshold. The automatic door began to close behind him, and I realized with horror that it hadn't opened automatically when he'd approached. I'd had to unlock it manually. "You need to leave," I said, my professional composure crumbling. "Right now. I just want to find my mother." His voice grew louder, more insistent. "She's here. I know she is. I've been waiting so long." The lights in the hallway began to flicker. The temperature dropped so fast, I could see frost forming on the windows. Down the corridor, doors started opening and closing by themselves. Bang, 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 the same rhythm as his knocking. "Dr. Patterson," I screamed, but my voice seemed to die in the air, swallowed by something I couldn't see. The boy was closer now, though I hadn't seen him move. His colonial costume was charred at the edges. I could smell smoke, old smoke, like it had been burning for 70 years. "Where is she?" he demanded. Tears ran down his gray cheeks, leaving dark trails. "Where's my mother? She promised she'd come trick-or-treating with me." "She promised." I stumbled backward, hitting the nurse's station. My hand found the phone, but when I picked it up, the line was dead. Just static, and underneath it something else. A woman's voice, very faint, calling a name. "Thomas? Thomas, I'm sorry." That Thomas, the boy, heard it too. His head whipped around, searching. "Mama? She's not here. I shouted. She died. She died a long time ago. You both did. The boy's face contorted with rage and grief. The lights exploded in a shower of sparks. In the darkness, I could see him more clearly somehow, see through him. The burns covering his small body, the hollow hunger in his eyes. The decades of waiting. You're lying, he whispered. Mama wouldn't leave me. Not on Halloween. Not when she promised. I ran. I don't remember deciding to do it. But suddenly I was running down the dark hallway, doors slamming behind me, that smell of old smoke filling my lungs. Behind me I could hear small footsteps, slow, patient, never stopping. I burst into the break room. Dr. Patterson jerked awake. Rebecca? What the hell? We need to leave now. I didn't wait to explain. I grabbed his arm and dragged him toward the emergency exit. Behind us, the boy's voice echoed through the hospital. Mama, where are you? You promised. We made it outside. The cold October air hit my face like a slap. I kept running until we reached the parking lot, only stopping when Dr. Patterson pulled free. Rebecca, what's going on? I turned back to look at the hospital. In the window of the ER entrance, I could see the small figure standing there, watching, waiting. We need to call someone, I managed. The police or... I don't know. Dr. Patterson looked at me like I was crazy, but he pulled out his phone. As he dialed, I kept my eyes on that window. The boy was still there. And then, just for a moment, I saw something else. Another figure, taller, wearing a nurse's uniform from another era. She was reaching for the boy and he was reaching back. The lights in the ER flickered once more. Then everything went dark. When the lights came back on, both figures were gone. The hospital security later told us there was no sign of anyone entering the ER. The cameras showed nothing, just me, walking to the door, opening it and standing there talking to empty air. They found me on the security footage, backing away from nothing, running from nothing. But I know what I saw. I know what I heard. I quit the next day. I couldn't stay in that place, knowing that every Halloween, somewhere in those halls, a little boy in a colonial costume would be searching, knocking, asking the same question he'd been asking for 70 years. Where's my mother? She promised. Sometimes promises are too strong to break. Even death can't stop them. And sometimes those promises become chains, binding the dead to their grief forever. I moved away from Salem last month. But even here in my new apartment 200 miles away, on cold nights when I hear knocking, that specific rhythm, 3 slow knocks, I freeze. And I wonder if somehow he's still searching, still waiting, still wearing that costume, still believing that this year, finally, his mother will keep her promise. I'm Marcus DeVille, and I run a vintage clothing store in the French Quarter. My shop's been in my family for 4 generations, specializing in authentic period costumes and clothing. Every Halloween, we get swamped with customers looking for the perfect vintage outfit. Last October, a woman came in 3 days before Halloween. I remember her clearly, mid-30s, elegant, with that desperate look customers get when they need something specific for an important event. I need a flapper dress, she said. Authentic 1920s. It's for a high-end Halloween party at the Roosevelt Hotel. Money's no object, I smiled. Money no object? Those are my favorite words. I have just the thing. I led her to the back of the store, to the section we call the archive. These are the pieces we don't normally sell, too rare, too valuable, too problematic. But for the right price, everything's negotiable. The dress was stunning. Genuine 1920s. Emerald green silk with intricate beadwork perfectly preserved. It had belonged to a woman named Evangeline Beaumont, a socialite who'd been famous in New Orleans during Prohibition. According to the label in our records, she died wearing this dress at a Halloween party in 1928. Mysterious circumstances, they'd said. Some sort of accident. It's perfect, the woman breathed, running her fingers over the silk. How much? I quoted a price that would make most people walk away. She didn't even blink. Handed me her credit card right there. I'm Jennifer Lawson, by the way, she said as I wrapped the dress. Thank you so much. This will make the party unforgettable. She had no idea how right she was. The night of the party, I got a call around midnight. It was Jennifer's number, but when I answered, all I heard was screaming. Then the line went dead. I tried calling back, no answer. I told myself it was nothing. Drunk dial, accident, whatever. But something nagged at me. That dress. Evangeline's dress. There was a reason we'd kept it in the archive instead of selling it. The next morning, it was all over the news. Jennifer Lawson had died at the Roosevelt Hotel Halloween party. Fell from a third-floor balcony. Security footage showed her walking to the railing, climbing over and jumping. No hesitation. No sign of distress beforehand. She was smiling, witnesses said. Smiling and waving at someone no one else could see. She was wearing the emerald dress. I should have felt guilty. Maybe I did. But mostly I felt cold, creeping dread. Because I knew something the police didn't know. Something I'd never told anyone. Evangeline Beaumont hadn't died in an accident. She'd jumped from a balcony at a Halloween party in 1928. Same hotel, same floor, wearing that exact dress. 3 days later, the dress came back. I found it hanging in the archive when I opened the shop. Perfectly clean, perfectly pressed, smelling of expensive perfume and something else. Something metallic. The police had it listed as evidence, but here it was, as if it had never left. I should have burned it. I should have thrown it away. But I'm a businessman, and vintage items like that are worth a fortune. I hung it back on the rack and tried to forget. The next Halloween, another woman bought it. Caroline something. She was younger, excited about a costume party in the Garden District. I warned her, sort of. I said the dress had a history. She laughed. Said that made it more authentic. She died too. Same way. Balcony. Smiling, waving at something invisible. The dress came back. This pattern continued for 3 years. 3 Halloweens. 3 women. 3 deaths. The dress always came back, and like a fool I kept selling it. The guilt was eating me alive, but I rationalized it. They made the choice to buy it. I warned them. Sort of last Halloween, I decided enough was enough. I was going to destroy the dress, burn it, do whatever it took to end this nightmare. But as I held it over the trash can, something stopped me. A voice, soft, feminine, coming from everywhere and nowhere. Don't. I spun around. The shop was empty. The door was locked. But I wasn't alone. I could feel it. A presence, cold and patient and waiting. Who's there? My voice cracked. You know who. In the mirror across from me, I saw her. Evangeline Beaumont, wearing the emerald dress, looking exactly like she did in the old photographs. Beautiful. Dead. Smiling. Why? I whispered. Why are you doing this? Because I'm lonely, she said simply. I've been alone so long, Marcus. Do you know what it's like? To be trapped in a single moment, a single choice forever? That party was the last time I felt alive. The last time I felt beautiful. I just wanted to fly, just for a moment. And now I can't stop falling. But those women, they understand now. They're with me. We're all falling together, Marcus. It's beautiful in its way, eternal, perfect. I looked at the dress in my hands. It was warm, pulsing, like it had a heartbeat. Let me go, Evangeline whispered. Or wear me yourself. Those are your only choices. You've profited from my death for too long. Now you must pay the price, either by releasing me or by joining me. My hands trembled. How do I release you? You can't. No one can. I made my choice on Halloween night, 1928. I'm bound to it forever, but you can choose. Burn the dress and face what comes after. Or keep selling it, keep adding to our number. Or, she smiled, and it was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. Or wear it yourself. This Halloween. Come to the party, Marcus. Come fly with us. I stood there, frozen, holding a dress that held death itself, while a ghost from 1928 waited for my answer. In the end, I did the only thing I could do. I locked the dress in a safe, buried it in the foundation of my shop, sealed it with concrete and prayers. But every Halloween I hear knocking, from below, from underground, and sometimes late at night, I find emerald sequins on the floor. The dress is waiting. She's waiting. And one day, one Halloween, I know I'll be weak enough, curious enough, desperate enough to dig it up again, because some curses don't need to be worn to claim you. Sometimes just knowing they exist is enough. I still run my shop. I still sell vintage clothing. But the archive is closed now, permanently. And when customers ask about authentic 1920s pieces, I lie and say I don't have any, because some fashions should stay dead. My name is Sarah Chen, and I thought I knew my neighborhood. I'd lived on Maple Street in northeast Portland for 8 years. Quiet area, nice houses, friendly neighbors. The kind of place where people wave at each other, where kids ride bikes until the streetlights come on. I thought I knew everyone on our block. I was wrong. It started last Halloween. My husband David and I were handing out candy, enjoying the parade of kids in costumes. Around 8 p.m., when things started slowing down, I noticed something odd. A group of people was walking down the street. Not kids, adults, maybe 6 or 7 of them, all wearing identical costumes. Plain white masks, simple dark clothes. They moved in perfect sync, walking from house to house, but they weren't trick-or-treating. They were just watching, standing on lawns, staring at houses, perfectly still. That's weird, David said, following my gaze. Flash mob or something. Maybe, I said, but I felt uneasy. Something about their stillness was wrong. They didn't sway, didn't fidget, didn't do any of those tiny movements humans always do. They just stood there. The group spent about 2 minutes in front of each house, then moved to the next one. Methodical, precise, like they were conducting some kind of survey. When they reached our house, I felt David tense beside me. They arranged themselves in a line on our lawn, 6 people in white masks facing our front door. Just standing there, staring. Can I help you? I called out, trying to sound friendly, not scared. They didn't respond. Didn't move. Just stared through those blank white masks. This isn't funny, David said, his voice harder. You need to leave now. Still nothing. 30 seconds passed, a minute. It felt like hours. Then, in perfect unison, they all tilted their heads to the left. Same angle, same speed. Like they were controlled by the same puppeteer. That broke me. I slammed the door and locked it. What the hell was that? David whispered. Through the peephole, I watched them. They stood there for exactly 2 minutes, then turned and walked to the next house. Same routine. Stand, stare, tilt heads, move on. Should we call the police? I asked. And say what? Some people in masks stood on our lawn. It's Halloween, Sarah, he was right. It was weird, but not illegal. So we turned off our porch light and tried to forget about it. But I couldn't. I kept peeking through the windows, watching the group move down the street. They visited every single house on our block. Same routine each time. By 9 p.m., they'd reached the end of the street and disappeared around the corner. See? David said, just some weird Halloween thing. It's over. I wanted to believe him. I really did. The next night they came back. No costumes this time, just normal clothes. But I recognized them by their movements. That perfect synchronization, that inhuman stillness. They walked down Maple Street in the same formation, stopping at the same houses, staring for the same amount of time. David, they're back. We watched from the upstairs window. They stopped at every house they'd visited on Halloween, including ours. 2 minutes of staring, heads tilting in unison, then moving on. Okay, that's creepy, David admitted. I'm calling the police. The police came, took our statement, did a drive-through of the neighborhood, found nothing. The masked people had vanished by the time the patrol car arrived. Probably just some prank, the officer said. Kids with too much time. They'll get bored. But they didn't get bored. They came back every night, same time, same route, same houses, same routine. Always 6 of them, sometimes 7, wearing regular clothes but moving with that same eerie synchronization. Our neighbors started talking. Everyone on Maple Street had noticed them. Some tried confronting them. The group never responded, never spoke, just stood and stared and moved on. Someone tried following them. They led him in circles through the neighborhood until he gave up, disoriented and frightened. The police increased patrols, but never caught them. The group seemed to know exactly when cops would be around. They'd skip those nights, then resume the next day. A week after Halloween, someone on our street, Tom Rodriguez, 3 houses down, moved out suddenly. Didn't say goodbye, didn't explain. Just packed up overnight and left. His house sat empty. The group stopped visiting it. They still walked past but didn't stop. Like they knew it was abandoned. 2 weeks later, the Martins moved out. Same thing, sudden, no explanation, house sitting empty. The group stopped visiting their house too. That's when I started to really panic. David, what if they're not just watching? What if they're waiting for something? Waiting for what? I didn't have an answer, but I felt it deep in my gut. These people, if they were people, had some purpose, some plan. And it involved our street. 3 weeks after Halloween, I figured it out. I was grocery shopping when I saw her, one of the masked people. At least I was pretty sure it was her. Same height, same build as one of the figures. She was standing in the produce section, perfectly still, holding a tomato. Not examining it, not shopping, just standing there, holding it, staring at nothing. I approached carefully. Excuse me, are you part of that group? The ones walking around Maple Street. She turned to look at me. Her eyes were normal, brown human, alive. But they were also completely empty. Like looking at a doll's eyes. We're watching, she said. Her voice was flat, emotionless. We need to know. Know what? Who stays, who runs? Who's strong enough? Strong enough for what? She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. The neighborhood needs to be pure, clean. Only the right people can stay. The ones who don't run. The ones who aren't afraid. The ones who belong. That's insane. You can't just... We're not the first, she interrupted. Check your house's history. Check the whole street. You'll see. This happens every 7 years. The watching. The selection. The cleansing. She put down the tomato and walked away, moving with that same synchronized grace like she was dancing to music only she could hear. I went home and did exactly what she'd said. I researched Maple Street's history. What I found made me sick. Every 7 years, going back to 1983, there was a spike in houses being abandoned on our street. Not sold, abandoned. People just left, often in the middle of the night, leaving furniture and possessions behind. The houses would sit empty for months. Then new families would move in. And every 7 years, in the weeks following Halloween, there were reports of strange people in the neighborhood, watching, waiting. The most disturbing part? The houses that got abandoned were always the ones where people had complained the most. The ones who'd called the police, who'd tried to fight back, who'd shown fear. We need to leave, I told David that night. Right now, tonight. Sarah, that's crazy. Look at the pattern. Everyone who stayed, everyone who tried to resist, their houses are marked. Something happens to them. I don't know what, but I'm not waiting to find out. We argued for hours. David thought I was being paranoid. Maybe I was. But that night, as I lay awake, I heard footsteps outside our house. I looked out the window. They were back. But this time, there were more of them. Maybe 20 people, all standing on our lawn, all wearing those white masks again, standing in perfect rows, perfectly still. And in the front row, I recognized our neighbors, the Johnsons from 2 doors down, the elderly couple across the street, even Tom Rodriguez, who I thought had moved away, all wearing masks. All staring at our house. David saw them too. The color drained from his face. Pack a bag, he whispered. Just essentials. We leave in 5 minutes. We snuck out the back door, threw our bags in the car, and drove away without looking back. I don't know what happened on Maple Street that night. I don't want to know. We're living in Seattle now. Different neighborhood, different house. I've never told anyone the full story. They'd think I was crazy. But sometimes late at night I look out my window and I wonder, is this neighborhood safe? Or are they here too, wearing normal faces, waiting for the right moment, the right Halloween to start watching again? Because I understand now, they're not ghosts. They're not monsters. They're something worse. They're people, regular people, who've been chosen, converted, made part of something ancient and terrible that lives in certain neighborhoods, certain streets, and once you're chosen, you have 2 options, join them or run. We ran, but I don't think we're safe, because last week I saw someone on our new street, standing perfectly still, watching our house, and I recognized her walk. That synchronized grace. They found us. The neighborhood watch always finds you. Next Halloween, I think they'll knock on our door, and I don't know what I'll do. I'm Detective James Morrison, Chicago PD. 23 years on the force, and I thought I'd seen everything. Murder, gang violence, organized crime. None of it surprises me anymore. But last Halloween changed that. It started with missing children. Not unusual for Halloween, unfortunately. Kids wander off, take wrong turns, parents panic. Usually they turn up within a few hours, found at a friend's house or lost in a different neighborhood. But these kids didn't turn up. October 31st, between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m., 6 children went missing from the south side. Different neighborhoods, different families, different routes. The only connection: they'd all been trick-or-treating on blocks near abandoned houses. By midnight, we had every available officer searching. By morning, we'd found nothing. No witnesses, no leads, no bodies. 6 kids aged 7 to 11 vanished without a trace. Then the candy started appearing. Halloween morning, exactly 24 hours after the disappearances, families all over the south side found candy on their porches. Not regular Halloween candy. These were old-fashioned wrapped candies, the kind you don't see anymore. Caramels, taffy, homemade-looking treats. Each piece had a small tag attached with string. On the tag, written in perfect cursive, "From a friend." Parents threw them away, obviously. Called us to report it. We collected samples for testing. Nothing unusual, just candy. Old-fashioned recipes, but nothing poisonous, nothing tampered with. What bothered me was the timing. Who leaves candy on porches the day after Halloween? Who has access to hundreds of houses across multiple neighborhoods? And why did this feel connected to the missing kids? I started digging into the neighborhood histories. That's when I found him, Martin Kovac, the Candyman of Chicago. Back in 1963, Martin had owned a candy shop on the South Side. By all accounts, he was beloved, gave free candy to kids, knew everyone by name, was part of the community. But that Halloween, 6 children went missing after visiting his shop. Police found evidence in his basement. Terrible evidence I won't describe here. Martin hanged himself in his cell before trial. The candy shop was demolished, the lot left empty for years. Here's the thing that made my blood run cold. The 6 kids who went missing in 1963, same ages as our current victims, and Martin's shop. It had been located in the exact center of where our 6 disappearances occurred. It's a copycat, my partner Rodriguez said when I showed him the files. Someone who knows the history wants to recreate it. Maybe, I said, but I didn't believe it. The candy, the timing, the locations, it was too perfect, too synchronized. The next night, more candy appeared. Same porches, same tags. But this time, the message was different. They're playing games with me. Come find them before the weekends. That's when parents really started to panic. The media picked it up. Candyman returns, the headlines screamed. People were boarding up the old lot where Martin's shop had stood. Paranormal investigators were offering their services. I don't believe in ghosts. I believe in evidence and logic. So I focused on the practical. Who had access to these neighborhoods? Who knew the history? Who had the means and opportunity? We interviewed hundreds of people, checked security cameras, found nothing useful. Whoever was doing this was careful, methodical, invisible. On November 3rd, 4 days after the disappearances, we found the first child. Little Emma Torres, 8 years old, was discovered sitting on a park bench 3 blocks from her house. She was wearing her Halloween costume, a princess dress, and eating candy. The old-fashioned kind. When officers approached, she looked up and smiled. "The Candyman is nice," she said. "He has games. He has a special room where time doesn't work right. We've been playing for years." "Emma, you've been gone for 4 days," the officer said gently. She looked confused. "No, I've been gone since Halloween. Halloween 1963, haven't I?" They rushed her to the hospital. Physically, she was fine. Not a scratch on her. But mentally, she was stuck. She kept talking about 1963, about Martin's candy shop, about the special room where she and other kids played games forever. Psychiatrists said trauma, suggested recovered memories from something she'd heard or read about the original case. But I saw her eyes. She believed every word. She'd been somewhere else. Somewhere time worked differently. Over the next 2 days, 4 more kids appeared the same way. Same story, same candy, same insistence they'd been gone since 1963, all physically fine, all mentally displaced. The 6th child, 10-year-old Marcus Webb, never came back. On November 7th, exactly 1 week after Halloween, I decided to visit the old lot, the site where Martin's candy shop had stood. I don't know what I was looking for. Evidence, closure, something. The lot was empty. Overgrown grass, broken concrete, old fence posts. Nothing unusual. But as I stood there in the evening light, I felt it. A presence. A coldness that had nothing to do with Chicago weather. And then I saw him, an old man standing at the far end of the lot, wearing a white apron and old-fashioned clothes like something from the 1960s. He was smiling at me, holding a paper bag. "Detective Morrison," he said, though I'd never told him my name. His voice was warm, grandfatherly. "You're looking for the boy. Where is Marcus Webb?" I demanded, hand moving to my service weapon. "He chose to stay," the man said simply. "The others were afraid. They wanted to go home. But Marcus, he likes it in my shop. Time doesn't hurt there. Pain doesn't exist. It's just games and candy forever and ever." "You're dead," I said. "Martin Kovac died in 1963, he laughed. "Did I? Or did I just find a better place to set up shop? You think death stopped me from doing what I love? I love children, detective. I love making them happy. I love giving them candy and games and joy. You're a monster. I'm a businessman, he corrected. And business is eternal. Every 7 years I come back. Every 7 years I take new children to my shop. Most don't stay. They're too attached to this world this time. But some, he smiled wider, some children understand. They see how beautiful it is to live in one perfect moment forever. Halloween 1963. The best Halloween there ever was. Where's Marcus? In my shop. Where it's always Halloween. Where candy never runs out and games never end. He's happy, detective. Happier than he ever was here. I pulled my weapon. Show me, now. Martin laughed again. You can't arrest a dead man, detective. You can't arrest a memory. I'm not really here, not in the way you understand. I'm an echo, a pattern, a tradition that repeats every 7 years, because that's what I was doing when I died. Taking children, making them happy forever. Those children in 1963 are still in my shop, he interrupted. Still playing, still eating candy, still 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Time doesn't pass there. It's perfect. And every 7 years I get to bring more friends for them. This Halloween 6 came. 5 left, 1 stayed. In 7 more years I'll be back. I'll stop you. You can't stop Halloween, detective. You can't stop tradition. You can't stop what's already dead. He opened his paper bag and the smell of fresh caramel filled the air. Want some candy? It's really quite good. My special recipe. The one I was making when the police came for me in 1963. The one I never got to share. I didn't shoot him. I don't know why. Maybe because I knew bullets wouldn't work. Maybe because part of me understood he was telling the truth. He wasn't really there. Not in any way that mattered. He smiled one more time. Tell the parents Marcus is happy. Tell them he's in a place where he'll never grow old, never be hurt, never be sad. Isn't that what every parent wants? Then he was gone, just gone. Like he'd never been there. I searched that lot for hours. Brought in ground-penetrating radar, cadaver dogs, excavation equipment. We dug up the entire site. Found the old foundation of the candy shop. Found bones, the victims from 1963, just where the historical records said they'd be. But we didn't find Marcus Webb. We didn't find any sign of where he'd gone. The case went cold. Officially, he's still listed as missing. The 5 kids who came back? They're in therapy, slowly readjusting to life in 2024. They still have nightmares about the special room, still talk about playing games with children who've been dead for 60 years. I retired last month. Couldn't stay on the force after that. Couldn't keep pretending I understood how the world worked. Because I know the truth now. Some places exist outside of time. Some people become so twisted, so obsessed, that death can't stop them. They just keep doing what they were doing over and over, like a record stuck on repeat. And every 7 years on Halloween night, somewhere on Chicago's South Side, Martin Kovac opens his candy shop. The one that only certain children can see. The one where time stopped in 1963. Most kids ignore it, walk right past without noticing. But some, the lonely ones, the sad ones, the ones looking for escape, they see it. They see the warm lights, smell the candy, hear the laughter of children who've been playing the same games for 60 years, and some of them go inside. I'm telling you this because the next cycle is in 2031, 7 years from now. Halloween night. 6 more children will go missing from the South Side. 5 will probably come back, traumatized and displaced in time. 1 will stay, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it, because you can't stop a ghost. You can't stop a pattern. You can't stop Halloween. I've been having nightmares since that night in the lot. I see Marcus Webb sitting... My name is Rachel Morrison, and I'm a documentary photographer. Last October, I was working on a project about Southern Halloween traditions. Savannah seemed perfect. Historic, atmospheric, allegedly the most haunted city in America. I don't believe in ghosts. I believe in light, composition, and catching authentic moments. That's what I do! That's all I do. Or that's what I thought. I arrived in Savannah on October 20th, giving myself plenty of time to scout locations before Halloween. The city was beautiful. Those old mansions, the Spanish moss, the cobblestone streets. Perfect for moody, atmospheric shots. I spent the first few days photographing historic homes, cemeteries, tourists on ghost tours, standard stuff. But on October 24th, I found something interesting. There was an old plantation house on the edge of the historic district, the Blackwood Estate. Not on the tourist maps, not part of any ghost tour. Just sitting there, slowly decaying, surrounded by overgrown gardens and that thick southern vegetation. The no trespassing signs were faded. The fence had gaps. As a photographer, I couldn't resist. I slipped through the fence with my camera, telling myself I'd just take a few quick shots from the outside. The light was perfect. Late afternoon, golden and hazy. The house looked like something from a Gothic novel. Through my viewfinder, I started shooting. The peeling paint, the broken windows, the front door hanging slightly ajar. Classic abandoned mansion aesthetic. Then I noticed something in one of the upstairs windows. A face, pale, indistinct, but definitely a face. Hello? I called out. Is someone there? No answer. I zoomed in with my lens and took a few shots of the window. The face was still there. Not moving. Just watching, probably a squatter, I thought. Or my imagination. Old houses play tricks with light and shadows. I finished my shots and left. Didn't think much about it until I got back to my hotel and uploaded the photos to my laptop. The face in the window was clearer in the pictures than it had been in person. A woman, middle-aged, wearing what looked like old-fashioned clothing. She was staring directly at the camera. Directly at me. But here's what made my skin crawl. In the sequence of photos I'd taken, maybe 20 shots over 5 minutes, she was in every single frame. In different windows. Sometimes ground floor, sometimes second floor, sometimes in the background of shots where I'd been focused on the garden. She was following me, moving through the house, watching me, and I hadn't noticed. Not once while I was actually there. I told myself it was a person, just a homeless woman living in the abandoned house. But something felt wrong. The way she appeared in frames I knew had been empty. The way her position in each photo suggested she'd been moving at impossible speeds. Professional curiosity won out over common sense. I went back the next day. The house looked even more decrepit in morning light. I called out several times, making it clear I wasn't trying to sneak up on anyone. No response. I pushed open that hanging front door and stepped inside. The interior was wrecked. Water damage, collapsed ceilings, graffiti on the walls. But underneath the decay, you could see it had once been grand. High ceilings, ornate molding, a curved staircase leading up to the second floor. I started shooting again, documenting the decay. And in every photo, there she was. The woman. Sometimes in the background, sometimes reflected in mirrors that should have shown only walls. Sometimes standing right behind me. I could see her in shots I'd taken using my camera's flip screen. But when I turned around, nothing. Empty rooms, empty hallways. Just me in the creaking silence. I know you're here, I said to the empty house. I can see you in my photos. What do you want? The temperature dropped. My breath fogged in the air. And from somewhere upstairs I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, moving across the floor. I should have left. Any sane person would have left. But I'm a photographer. I document things. So I went upstairs. The second floor was worse than the first. Holes in the floor, exposed beams, piles of debris. The footsteps had stopped. I moved carefully, testing each floorboard before putting my weight on it. That's when I found the room last door at the end of the hallway. Unlike the others, this door was closed. New-looking lock on the outside. Someone had secured this room recently. Despite the house being abandoned for years, I tried the lock. It was open. The door swung inward with a horror movie creak. The room was full of photographs, hundreds of them, maybe thousands covering every wall. All old prints, yellowed and faded. All showing the same thing, people. People, different eras, but all with the same expression. Terror. They were all terrified of something outside the frame, and in the corner of each photograph, barely visible, was the same face. The woman I'd been seeing, watching, smiling. Jesus Christ, I whispered, he won't help you here. I spun around. The woman was standing in the doorway. Solid. Real. Wearing a dress from the 1800s, her hair in an old-fashioned style. She looked sad more than scary. Who are you? My voice shook. Eliza Blackwood, she said quietly. I lived here, died here. Halloween night 1847. My husband was a photographer, one of the first in Georgia. He had a special camera, a special process. He said it could capture souls, not just images. That's impossible, is it? She gestured to the walls. Look at them. Really look, I did. And I realized what was wrong with the photographs. The people in them weren't posing. They were trapped. Frozen mid-scream, mid-flight, mid-prayer. And in each one you could see more detail than should be possible. Every pore, every hair, every terror-filled wrinkle around their eyes. He killed them, Eliza said. 17 people over 3 years. Told them he was taking their portrait. But his camera didn't just capture light. It captured something else, something essential. He trapped them in the images and their bodies just stopped, like dolls with the strings cut. And I discovered what he was doing. Halloween night 1847. I came up here and found this room. All these photographs of people I knew. People who disappeared or died suddenly. I confronted him. And he used the camera on me. She touched her chest right over her heart. Hurt more than dying. Hurt more than anything. Having your soul pulled out through light and shadow. Being trapped in silver and paper. Aware but unable to move, unable to speak, unable to do anything but watch. How are you here then? How are you talking to me? The house burned 3 days later. My husband died in the fire. But the photographs survived and they were in a fireproof safe. And I realized I wasn't trapped in just one image anymore. The fire had done something, released something. I could move between photographs, could appear in any image taken of this house or the grounds. It's not freedom, but it's better than being frozen in one moment forever. I looked at my camera, the photos I took yesterday. I'm in all of them, because that's what I do now. That's all I can do. I exist in images, only in images. And every year on Halloween I try to warn someone, try to show them what happened here, but they never understand. They think I'm a ghost or a trick of the light or their imagination. I believe you, I said. And I did. Standing in that room, surrounded by evidence of something impossible, I believed every word. Then help me, Eliza whispered. Help me end this. Destroy the photographs. All of them, burn them. Free the people trapped inside. Free me. I looked at the walls. Thousands of photographs. Decades worth of horror. If I burn them, what happens to you? I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'll finally die properly. But anything is better than this. Anything is better than existing as shadows and light, trapped in other people's cameras, unable to touch or feel or live. I made my decision. Okay, I'll do it. We spent the rest of the day taking down photographs. I filled garbage bags with them, careful not to look too closely at the faces. The terror in their expressions was too much, too real. Eliza helped or tried to. She couldn't physically touch the photographs, but she could point out hidden ones, the ones tucked behind others, or stuffed in drawers. There's one more place, she said, as evening approached. The basement. That's where he kept his special camera. The one he used on me. It might still work. The basement was flooded, water up to my knees, but we found it. An old camera on a tripod, corroded but intact. It looked handmade, strange angles and unusual lenses. On the side, engraved in the brass, solely to 1845. Destroy it, Eliza said. Please. I smashed it with a piece of debris. The lenses shattered. Something inside the camera broke with a sound like screaming, and the water in the basement began to boil. It's working, Eliza gasped. She was flickering, fading in and out. I can feel it. They're being released. All of them. Oh God, I can feel... She vanished mid-sentence. I ran. Got out of that basement, out of that house, with my bags of photographs, set them on fire in the overgrown garden, and watched them burn. The smoke was thick and black, and I swear I could hear voices in it. 17 voices, plus Eliza's, all whispering the same thing. Thank you. When I got back to my hotel, I checked my camera. Deleted every photo I'd taken at the Blackwood estate. I didn't want any record of what I'd seen. Didn't want to risk trapping anything else, but here's the thing that still keeps me up at night. The next morning, when I was packing to leave Savannah, I found one photograph in my camera bag. One I definitely didn't print, don't remember taking. It shows me standing in that room full of photographs, looking at the camera with an expression I don't remember making, and in the corner of the image, barely visible, is Eliza. She's smiling, really smiling for the first time, and she's waving goodbye. I keep that photograph. It's the only one I kept. Sometimes I look at it and wonder, did I really free her? Or did she find a new way to exist, jumping from my camera to this one printed image, forever smiling, forever waving? I don't take photographs anymore. Haven't touched my camera since Halloween, because now I know the truth. Cameras don't just capture light. They capture moments. And some moments want to be captured. Some moments trap you just as much as you trap them. Every photograph is a little death. A frozen second, stolen from time, preserved forever. And some photographs are prisons. I think about all the selfies people take, all the photos uploaded every second to social media. Millions of images, billions, all capturing moments and faces and souls. And I wonder how many of them have something hiding in the corner. Some face that shouldn't be there. Some presence that's learned to exist in captured light. How many photographs are haunted? Look at your own photos sometime. Really look. Check the backgrounds, the reflections, the shadows. You might see something that wasn't there when you took the picture. Something that's been waiting, watching, trapped, or maybe not trapped at all. Maybe free in ways we don't understand. Free to move between images, between cameras, between moments. The Soul Eater camera is destroyed. But Eliza's husband wasn't the first to discover that photography could capture more than images. He won't be the last. And every Halloween, when the barrier between worlds grows thin, I think about those photographs burning in the garden, those voices in the smoke, and I wonder if I really freed them, or if I just changed the prison they're trapped in, because energy doesn't die. It just transforms, and souls. Maybe souls are just another kind of energy, captured, preserved, eternal. Smile for the camera. I'm Thomas Whitmore, and I grew up in Amish country. Not Amish myself, but close enough that I understand the community, respect their ways, know when something doesn't fit. Last Halloween, something didn't fit. I run a small farm on the edge of Lancaster County. Every October I do hay rides for tourists, you know, the autumn thing. Pile people in a wagon, drive them around the property, show them the pumpkin patch, charge $20 a head. Easy money. Halloween night is always busy. Families wanting that authentic rural experience before they hit the Halloween parties. I'd scheduled the last ride for 8 p.m., figuring I'd be home by 9. The group was small, just 6 people. A young couple, 2 teenagers and an older Amish couple. The Amish couple surprised me. They usually don't participate in Halloween stuff, against their beliefs, but I recognized them, Jacob and Ruth Stoltzfus, from a community about 5 miles away. I'd sold them eggs and produce over the years. Good people, quiet. "Evening, Jacob, Ruth," I said as they climbed on the wagon. "Didn't expect to see you folks on a hayride tonight." Jacob's face was grim. "We need to get to the old Yoda property. The wagon path is fastest. The Yoda place has been abandoned for 30 years, I said. "Nothing there but ruins. Please," Ruth whispered. Her hands were shaking. "We need to get there before midnight. Before they come out." The other passengers were getting uncomfortable. I should have told Jacob and Ruth no. Should have ended the ride right there. But something in Ruth's eyes. She was terrified, genuinely terrified. "Okay," I heard myself saying. "We'll swing by the old Yoda property." But just a quick look. I clicked the reins and my horses started moving. The other passengers relaxed, probably thinking this was part of the show. Spooky Amish couple, abandoned farm, perfect Halloween atmosphere, but I knew better. The Amish don't joke about these things. They don't play pretend. We rode in silence for about 20 minutes. The sun had set completely, and my wagon lanterns were the only light for miles. Pennsylvania countryside at night is dark. No street lights, no houses, just fields and forests and silence. As we approached the old Yoda property, Jacob leaned forward. "Stop here. Don't go closer." I pulled the horses to a stop. We were maybe 100 yards from what used to be the Yoda farmhouse. In the darkness, I could just make out the silhouette. Collapsed barn, fallen fences. The house itself just a shell. "Why are we stopping?" one of the teenagers asked. I thought we were doing a hayride, not a seance. "Be quiet," Jacob said sharply. "And watch," we waited. The horses were nervous, ears back, shifting in their harnesses. They didn't like this place. Then at exactly 8:47 p.m., I remember checking my watch, lights appeared at the Yoda house, not modern lights. Lantern lights, moving through the ruins like someone was carrying them room to room. And I could hear singing, Faint but clear in the cold night air. German singing. An Amish hymn. What the hell is that? The young man whispered. The Yodas, Ruth said softly. They're doing their nightly routine, just like they've done for 30 years, just like they'll do forever. That's impossible, I said. The Yodas all died in 1993. Carbon monoxide poisoning. The whole family, parents, 6 kids, grandparents. They found them Halloween morning, all dead in their beds. They don't know they're dead, Jacob said. Every Halloween they wake up. They go through their evening routine. Dinner, prayers, bed. Then Halloween ends and they die again. But the next year Halloween comes around and they wake up once more. Same night, same routine, forever. The lights move through the ruined house in a pattern. Kitchen, dining room, living room, up to the bedrooms. I could see shadows now, figures carrying those lanterns, moving with purpose. Why? I asked. Why does this happen? Because they were too good, Ruth said. Too pure, too righteous. When they died on Halloween, the devil's night, their souls didn't know where to go. Heaven wasn't ready for them yet. Hell couldn't touch them. So they're trapped, living the last night of their lives over and over, never knowing they're dead. One of the teenage girls started crying. I want to leave. This isn't fun anymore. We can't leave yet, Jacob said firmly. We have to make sure. Make sure of what? That they stay in the house. Sometimes they realize something's wrong. Sometimes they look outside and see the world has changed. See their farm is ruins. And when that happens, he trailed off. The lantern lights had stopped moving. All of them were in windows now, facing our direction. Facing us, oh no, Ruth whispered. They see us. The front door of the ruined house opened. Figures started coming out. I counted 8 of them, the whole Yoda family. They moved slowly, carrying their lanterns, walking through what used to be their front yard, walking toward us. Drive, Jacob ordered. Now. I didn't need to be told twice. I snapped the reins and the horses took off. Behind us, the teenagers were screaming. The young couple was holding each other, and the Yoda family was following. I've seen a lot of things in my life. I've never seen Amish people run. They don't. It's not their way. Everything is slow, deliberate, measured. But the Yodas were running, still carrying their lanterns, still in their nightclothes, but running at a speed that shouldn't be possible. And they were gaining on us. They want to know, Ruth sobbed. They want to know why their farm is gone, why the world changed, why they keep living the same night over and over. But if they find out they're dead, if they accept it, what? I shouted over the thunder of hooves and the screaming passengers. They'll take someone back with them, Jacob finished, to replace what they lost. A living person to trade places with a dead one. It's the only way they can escape their loop. I pushed the horses harder than I ever had. The wagon bounced over ruts and stones. Behind us, the Yodas were still coming. I could hear them now, not just footsteps, but voices, calling out in Pennsylvania Dutch, questions desperate and confused. Why is our home destroyed? Where are our animals? What year is this? Why can't we wake up? We burst onto the main road. The Yodas stopped at the property line, like they'd hit an invisible wall. They stood there, 8 figures with lanterns, watching us disappear into the darkness. I didn't stop driving until we reached the main highway, until there were lights and traffic and blessed modern civilization around us. The other passengers got off without a word, didn't ask for refunds, didn't complain, just left, pale and shaking. I never saw them again. Jacob and Ruth stayed, helped me stable the horses, who were lathered with sweat and wild-eyed with fear. I'm sorry, Thomas, Jacob said. We had to check. Every year on Halloween, someone from our community has to check. Make sure the Yodas stay at their property. Make sure they don't break free. How long has this been going on? 30 years. Every Halloween. Sometimes they don't even come out of the house. Sometimes they do what you saw, realize something's wrong and try to leave. 3 years ago, they made it almost to the main road before sunrise. We barely got them back. What happens if they make it off the property? Ruth and Jacob exchanged glances. 15 years ago, Ruth said quietly. They made it to a Halloween party at a neighboring farm. 20 people at that party. By morning, 8 of them were gone, just vanished. And the Yoda family was back in their house, sleeping peacefully like nothing had happened. Those 8 people took the Yoda's place, Jacob finished, trapped in the same loop now. Living and dying on Halloween forever. We think they're somewhere else, some other cursed place, doing what the Yodas do, And the Yoders should have been free, but they're not. The curse is stronger than that. It just spreads. I felt sick. So what do we do? What we've been doing for 30 years, Jacob said. Watch them. Keep people away. Wait for them to pass on naturally, if that's even possible. Can't we help them? Break the curse somehow? We've tried everything, Ruth said sadly. Priests, prayers, blessings, exorcisms. Nothing works. They're not haunting the property. They are the property now. Bound to it, part of it. The land remembers that night, and it makes them live it over and over. I sold my farm 6 months later, moved to Ohio. I couldn't stay there, knowing that every Halloween, less than 5 miles from my property, a family was waking up dead, living their last night on earth forever. But distance doesn't help, because now I understand something I never did before. We think time moves forward, past to present to future. But what if that's not always true? What if some moments are so traumatic, so wrong that time breaks, creates loops, and people get stuck in those loops, living the same hours over and over, never able to move forward, never able to truly die? The Yoders weren't killed by carbon monoxide. They were killed by carbon monoxide on Halloween night. And somehow that timing mattered. That specific night, when the boundary between living and dead grows thin, when curses have power, when time itself becomes unstable. They died, and Halloween wouldn't let them go. And now they're trapped. Forever waking up on Halloween evening, forever going through their routine, forever going to bed and dying, forever waking up the next year to do it all again. 31 years now, 31 Halloweens, and every year there's a moment when they realize something's wrong. Every year they try to leave, to find answers, to escape, and every year they fail. But one year, maybe this year, maybe next year, they won't fail. They'll make it off the property. They'll find a party or a hayride or a group of trick-or-treaters, and 8 people will vanish. 8 people will take their place in whatever hell they're trapped in. And the Yoders, they'll just find another loop, another curse, another eternal Halloween. Because that's the thing about breaking curses, you don't destroy them. You just pass them on. I'm telling you this because Halloween is coming. And if you're in Lancaster County, if you're driving past an old abandoned Amish farm, if you see lantern lights in windows that shouldn't have lights, don't stop. Don't investigate. Don't let them see you, because they're looking for answers. They're looking for escape, and they're looking for replacements. The Yoders are still there, still waking up every Halloween, still dying every November 1st, still trapped in the worst night of their lives forever. And they're not alone anymore. There are others now, the 8 from 15 years ago. The ones from other years, other encounters. The loop is spreading. More properties, more families, more people trapped in Halloween night forever. Time isn't linear. Time is a loop, and Halloween is when the loop breaks. I'm Andrea Walsh, and I made the worst mistake of my life last Halloween. I bought a house in Sleepy Hollow. I know what you're thinking. Sleepy Hollow, perfect for Halloween, how bad could it be? That's what I thought too. Quaint historic town, beautiful fall foliage, rich literary history. I'm a writer, so living in the town that inspired Washington Irving seemed ideal. The house was incredible. Victorian architecture, original details, huge yard, and the price was unbelievable. Too good to be true, really. But the real estate agent explained it had been on the market for a while. The previous owners had moved out suddenly, and the bank was motivated to sell. Red flags, I know. But it was beautiful, and I could afford it, and I signed the papers without asking enough questions. I moved in October 15th. The house was perfect. Everything worked, everything was clean. No mysterious stains or creepy basements. My first week there was peaceful. I set up my office, started working on my novel, explored the town. Then on October 22nd, I found the journal. It was in the attic, tucked behind some insulation. A leather-bound notebook, old but not antique. The first entry was dated October 15th, 2023, exactly 1 year before I'd moved in. We just bought the most beautiful house in Sleepy Hollow, it began. This is going to be perfect. I flipped through the pages. The handwriting got shakier as the entries progressed. The tone changed from excitement to confusion to fear. October 18th, 2023. There's someone in the yard at night. We thought it was a neighbor, but when we went out to say hello, nobody was there. Just footprints in the frost leading to the back door. October 22nd, 2023. The footprints appear every night now. always starting at the tree line, always ending at our back door. Sarah wants to call the police, but what would we tell them? Someone is walking to our house but disappearing before they knock. October 26, 2023. The knocking started. 3 knocks every night at 3 a.m. We checked every time, nobody there, but we can hear breathing on the other side of the door. Heavy, wet breathing, like someone who's been running or drowning. The last entry was October 31st, 2023. It's Halloween. The knocking hasn't stopped. It's been going on for hours now. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks. Over and over. We called the police twice. They found nothing. No footprints, no evidence of anyone on the property. But we can see them now, through the windows. Figures standing at the tree line. 7 of them. They're wearing old clothes like costumes, but too realistic. And they're just standing there, waiting. Sarah is packing. We're leaving tonight. I don't care about the house, the mortgage, any of it. Something is wrong with this property. Something has always been wrong with it. If you're reading this, if you bought this house, get out. Get out before Halloween. Before they come. Before the entry ended mid-sentence. Just a long ink smear, like the pen had been dragged across the page. I sat in that attic for a long time holding the journal. This was obviously a prank, right? The previous owners trying to scare the new buyer. Some kind of Sleepy Hollow Halloween joke. But the dates bothered me, and the specificity, and the fear in that handwriting. I took the journal downstairs and did what any modern person would do. I searched. I found the previous owners' names from the deed, Robert and Sarah Chen. I found their social media profiles. Both accounts had stopped posting abruptly on November 1st, 2023. No farewell posts, no explanation. Just silence. I called the real estate agent. The previous owners, the Chens, do you know where they moved to? Long pause. I'm not sure. The bank handled the foreclosure. They just stopped paying the mortgage, stopped communicating entirely. Did they leave forwarding addresses? No, nothing. Look, Miss Walsh, is something wrong with the house? I hung up without answering. That night, October 22nd, exactly 1 year after the Chens had written about footprints, I watched my backyard. Set up my laptop by the window, made coffee and waited. At 11:47 p.m., I saw the first footprint appear in the frost, not someone walking and leaving prints. The print just appeared, like invisible feet pressing down on frozen grass. Then another, a trail forming from the tree line toward my house. 7 sets of footprints, all appearing simultaneously, all walking in perfect synchronization toward my back door. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I watched those footprints march across my yard, crunch, 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 until they reached my back door and stopped. Then I heard it. 3 knocks and knock, knock, knock. I grabbed my phone, fingers shaking so badly I could barely dial 911. Someone's at my back door, I whispered. I need police. They arrived 12 minutes later. Found nothing. No footprints, the frost had melted. No evidence of anyone on the property. The officers checked everything, humored me because I was clearly terrified, and suggested maybe I'd had a nightmare. But I knew what I'd seen. The next night, it happened again. Footprints appearing at 11:47 p.m., knocking at midnight. I didn't call the police this time. I just sat in my living room with all the lights on, trying not to look at the back door. At 3 a.m., the knocking came again. Knock, knock, knock. And then I heard it, breathing. Heavy, wet, like someone drowning, just like the journal had described. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. By October 26th, I was exhausted, terrified, and running out of rational explanations. That's when I decided to research the property's history. The Sleepy Hollow Historical Society was helpful. They pulled records from my address going back to 1823, when the house was originally built. Interesting property, the archivist said. It's changed hands a lot, more than most houses in the area. Looks like the average ownership period is less than 2 years. Why? She shrugged. No idea. No deaths on the property, no reported problems. People just seem to leave, usually right around November. She showed me the ownership timeline. 43 different owners since 1823. Most had stayed less than 2 years. And there was a pattern, a disturbing pattern. Every 7 years, the house sat empty for exactly 12 months. No owner during those years. The property just waited, The last empty period was 2016 to 2017, I said, calculating. That means the next one would be 2023 to 2024, the archivist finished. But someone bought it in 2023. The Chens, although they only stayed a few weeks. My blood ran cold. So technically the house has been empty this whole year. Until I bought it. I suppose so. Why does that matter? I didn't answer. Because I was beginning to understand. This house needed to be empty for certain years. And when it wasn't, when someone was living here who shouldn't be, something came to remove them. I spent October 27th trying to find the Chens, called every number I could find, sent emails, even drove to their last known address in White Plains. Their old apartment building had no forwarding information. It was like they'd vanished completely. That night I saw them. At 11:47 p.m. the footprints appeared again. But this time, as they reached my back door, figures materialized. 7 people, wearing old-fashioned clothes from different eras. They stood at my door, perfectly still, perfectly silent, and they stared at me through the glass. I recognized the clothing from my research. Styles from 1823, 1830, 1837, 1844, 1851, 1858, 1865, 7-year intervals. 7 empty years. 7 people who'd refused to leave when the house needed to be empty. What do you want? I screamed through the door. One of them, a woman in an 1823 dress, raised her hand and knocked. Knock, knock, knock. Then she spoke, her voice muffled but clear. The house must rest. 7 years of inhabitation, then 1 year of silence. That is the pattern. That is the rule. You are breaking the rule. I didn't know. Nobody told me. Ignorance doesn't matter. The pattern must be maintained. Leave before Halloween ends or join us in maintaining it. Join you? What does that mean? The 7 figures stepped back from the door, and I could see them more clearly now. They were translucent, fading in and out of visibility. And they looked tired. So incredibly tired. We refused to leave, the woman said. We thought we could break the pattern, stay in the house during its year of rest. We were wrong. The house took us. Made us part of its cycle. Now we enforce the pattern. We come every 7th year, every Halloween, and remove those who shouldn't be here. This is insane. Houses don't have cycles. They don't take people. This one does. It was built on land that the Lenape people considered cursed. Built anyway because the builder didn't believe in curses. He learned. Stayed during the first rest year, 1830. Became the first guardian. We are all guardians now. 7 of us, 7 years maintaining the eternal pattern. Another figure stepped forward, a man in clothes from the 1860s. Please leave. We don't want to add to our number. Every 7 years, 1 more joins us. There are only 7 of us now. But someday there will be hundreds, thousands, an eternity of guardians, all trapped, all enforcing a pattern that can never be broken. Why doesn't anyone know about this? I demanded. Why isn't this documented? Because those who learn the truth leave. Those who don't leave disappear, and those who disappear can't tell stories. The house protects its secret. It always has. I looked at the calendar. October 27th, 3 days until Halloween ended. 3 days to escape. What happens if I stay? At midnight on November 1st, when Halloween officially ends, you'll become like us. Not dead, not alive. Bound to the house, bound to the pattern, forced to return every 7 years to remove whoever shouldn't be here. You'll exist in the spaces between moments, visible only on Halloween, conscious only during the enforcement period. The rest of time you'll be elsewhere, nowhere, waiting. The woman in the 1823 dress pressed her hand against the glass. I could see through it. Please, don't make my mistake. Don't let pride or stubbornness or disbelief trap you here. We thought we could fight. We thought we were stronger than superstition. We were wrong. I made my decision then. I'm leaving. Right now. Too late, she whispered. It's after midnight. Halloween has begun. The house is sealed. You cannot leave until November 1st. Those are the rules. I ran to the front door. Tried to open it, locked. Deadbolt wouldn't turn. Windows wouldn't open. Back door sealed tight. I tried breaking a window with a chair. The glass wouldn't crack. 3 days, the man from the 1860s said. You have 3 days to change your mind, to accept your fate, to stop fighting. Fighting only makes it hurt more when the moment comes. They faded away. leaving me alone in a house that had become my prison. I spent October 28th trying everything, called the police. My phone had no signal. Internet was dead. I screamed for neighbors, but the house seemed to exist outside of sound. Nobody heard me. Nobody came. October 29th, I found more journals, hidden throughout the house. 43 journals, 43 owners, all telling the same story. Warnings left behind for the next person, warnings that were never enough. The most recent journal was from 2016, the last person who'd stayed during a rest year. His final entry, written November 1st, 2016, at 11:59 p.m. I can feel it starting. The house is pulling me somewhere else, somewhere between. I can see them now, the others. 7 faces, 7 eras, all waiting to welcome me. 8 of us now. 8 guardians for 8 rest years. If you're reading this, you're next. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to warn you, but the house won't let warnings work. It needs guardians. It needs people who stay when they should leave. Run if you can. But if it's Halloween, you're already trapped. Just like I was. Just like they were, the pattern must be maintained. The house must rest. And we must enforce it. See you in 7 years. October 30th, I stopped fighting, accepted what was coming. The 7 guardians appeared again, standing in my living room, watching me with sad, hollow eyes. "We're sorry," the woman from 1823 said. "We tried to warn you. We always try. But the house chooses who hears and who doesn't. It chose you to not hear, to not believe. To stay. Why me?" I whispered. "Because you're a writer. Because you'll document this. Because your journal will join the others. And maybe someday someone will read them all and understand. Maybe someone will find a way to break the pattern. We haven't, but maybe you will. Maybe the next person will." October 31st, Halloween night. My last hours of freedom. I'm writing this journal now, just like the 43 before me. Leaving my warning for whoever comes next. It's 11:47 p.m. I can feel something changing. The house is preparing. The guardians are gathering. I can see them more clearly now. Not just the 7, but glimpses of others. Shadows of future guardians, people who haven't been trapped yet but will be. The pattern extending forward into infinity. At midnight, I'll join them, become the 8th guardian, exist in the spaces between moments, waiting for 2031, when the house needs to rest again, when I'll return to remove whoever is foolish enough to stay. If you're reading this, you're in the house. You're the next one. And depending on when you're reading this, you might already be trapped. Listen to me. If it's before Halloween, leave now. Don't wait. Don't pack. Don't think about the money or the mortgage or the inconvenience. Just leave. If it's Halloween week, you're already trapped. I'm sorry. So sorry. You're going to join us. Become part of the pattern. But maybe you can do what we couldn't. Maybe you can find the source. Break the curse. Free us all. The house was built on cursed land in 1823. The builder's name was Jonathan Crane. There must be records. There must be something about what happened. Why this pattern started, how to end it, I couldn't find it. 43 owners before me couldn't find it. But maybe you can. It's 11:58 p.m. I can feel them surrounding me. 8 faces from 8 different eras, all preparing to welcome the 9th. The pattern grows. The house strengthens. Please, whoever you are, whatever year you're reading this. Break the pattern. Free us. Before there are too many guardians to count. Before the house becomes too strong to fight. Before... The journal entry ended there, just like all the others. Mid-sentence, ink smeared across the page. I'm Detective Maria Santos, NYPD, and I'm writing this addendum because I found Andrea Walsh's journal on November 2nd, 2024, along with 44 other journals, in a house that's been on the market, empty since the Chens disappeared in November 2023. We've searched everything. There's no sign of Andrea Walsh. Her car is still in the driveway. Her belongings are still in the house, but she's gone. Just like the Chens, just like 43 owners before them. I've read all the journals, every single one. Different handwriting, different eras, same story. People trapped during Halloween. People who vanish November 1st. People who become guardians. My captain thinks I'm losing it. Says these journals are elaborate fakes. Says Andrea Walsh probably wrote them all herself as part of some novel project, then left town. But I know different, because I've been watching the house. And on Halloween night at 11:47 p.m., I saw them. 8 figures standing at the door. 7 in period clothing, 1 in modern jeans and a sweater, Andrea Walsh, all staring at the house with the same hollow, sad expression. They saw me watching. Andrea looked right at me, mouthed 2 words, "Help us." Then they vanished. The house is back on the market. Bank foreclosure. Incredible price. Some young couple just made an offer. I tried to warn them, called them, told them not to buy it. They laughed, said I was trying to scare them. Probably wanted the house for myself. They're moving in next week. October 15th, 2025. I'm going to leave this document with the Historical Society, all 45 journals plus my statement. Maybe it won't help. Maybe the house will just erase it like it erases everything else. But I have to try because next year, 2031, will be another rest year, another empty year. And if someone is living in that house, if someone refuses to leave during Halloween 2031, there will be 9 guardians, and the pattern will continue forever.